All right, here's another interesting one. Let's take a baseball diamond. Okay, here's a baseball diamond. From home to first is 90 feet. First to second is 90 feet. Second to third is 90 feet. Third to home is 90 feet. Okay. What if we wanted to know how far it was from home to second when the catcher has to throw it down to throw somebody out stealing? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a right triangle. I am going to eliminate half the field because I don't need this part of the field. Okay. All I need is to make a right triangle. All I need is from home to first, first to second, and then that line from home to second. So it's basically going to look something like this. We do have a right triangle. The right angle forms between, or right at first base, from home to first, and then first to second. There's your right angle. So the hypotenuse is actually the throw from home to second. Okay. So now we just need to find this distance, use our Pythagorean theorem. So let's do it. Both A and B are going to be 90 feet. Okay. So we've got 90 to the second power plus 90 to the second power equals C to the second power. And C is this right here. Now it looks like a straight line here. Normally it used to be it's slanted. But if you turn it like this, it's definitely a slanted line. There's our hypotenuse right there. Okay. So 90 to the second power would just be 90 times 90, which is 8,100. So if that's 8,100, so is that, because it's the same thing. 8,100 equals whatever those two add up together, square root. 8,100 and 8,100 is going to be 16,200. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky because that's a pretty big number. I would recommend using a calculator to figure out what this is. There's no shame in doing that, I don't think. Okay. So I will actually do that. I'll use a calculator, use that square root button to figure out what 16,200 is using the square root. So I'm just going to do 16,200, and then I'll just take the square root of that. Now, if you don't know what the square root button looks like, it just looks like that radical symbol that's above the 16,200 right now. That's all it looks like. Okay, and this one is not going to come out evenly. Okay, this one is going to come out to be 127 with a lot of decimals after it. So we could just call it 127. Now, if you were actually needing to figure this out without a calculator, you would just have to try some things. What I would try is, I would just go up as high as I can, 100 times 100, keep going from there, and eventually you're going to see that 127 times 127 is close to this. Okay? But it's probably a lot easier than guessing and checking your way through it. Just use a calculator and the square root button. So the throw from home to second is about 127 feet. It's not exactly 127 feet, but it's between 127 and 128 feet. Okay? Another good real-life example of how we can use that Pythagorean theorem. All right, one more example for you, and this one is going to be a little bit different. Okay? But bear with me and I think you'll figure it out. In this example, here's my house right here. Here is MediaCom headquarters where my internet comes from. The direct trip from MediaCom to my house for the signal for my internet is 17 miles. From MediaCom to my house in a direct line is 17 miles. From Traer to my house is 8 miles. And I do not know the distance from Traer to the MediaCom headquarters. I give the guy a call because my internet's not working very well. He has to travel from MediaCom headquarters to Traer and then over to my house in Tama. Okay? And I want to know how far a trip that's going to be. Now, here's the thing. I know that from Traer to my house is 8 miles, but I don't know the other distance. But I do know, I'm aware that the signal from Mediacom to my house is 17 miles. This forms a right triangle. If it forms a right triangle, we're going to be in pretty good shape here. Okay. Now the difference here is we have the hypotenuse already. Normally that's that C. That's what we're trying to find, but we have it now. So let me show you how this works. Okay. Let's just say this is 8. 8 is A. Okay. So our A to the second power is going to be 8 to the second power plus B. Now this cannot be B because it's the hypotenuse. This is. So I'm just going to put in B here. And I'm just going to put B to the second power. And then I'm going to make it equal the hypotenuse, which is already 17. So I'm going to put 17 to the second power. See how this is different? We have this number already. We didn't have it before. Now we're looking for this one. Let me show you how this works. Let's simplify what we have. 8 to the second power is 8 times 8, which is 64. Plus, we don't know B to the second power, but we know we're going to be doing the square root of B to figure it out, equals 17 to the second power. Quick check. 17 times 17, 289. Now, we can't just add these two numbers together to get what this is. It's a little different. Since they're on opposite sides, we're going to subtract. Okay, so I'm going to cross the 64 off here, and I'm going to put minus 64 right here. Okay, so that would be 5, 2, 2. Okay, so now I know that the square root of B, we need to do the square root of 100 or 225. So let's do the square root of this. Okay, that's going to get us this side right here. So I think we've already had one where we did 225 actually. So if you have your notes, you can just look at that. But I believe it was 15 times 15. 15 times 15 is 125. So this is 15. So since we already had the other sides, the missing one is 15. So I'm going to put this over here. And that is 15 miles. So if the question was, what's the trip from Mediacom headquarters to my house for the guy who's coming to look at my internet, Mediacom to Trayer is 15 miles. Trayer to my house is 8 miles. That's going to be a total of 23 miles, a 23-mile trip. Okay. The difference between this one and the other ones, we never had this hypotenuse. This one we do, so it sets up a little bit differently. But as long as you get your numbers in the same spot and you remember to subtract these numbers instead of add them, I think you'll be okay. All right.